Hi, ultimate recap here. Imagine being born, and because of your birthright, you are automatically the most despised person in the kingdom. But one day you end up becoming the savior for the very people who once hated you. Today I'm going to recap an animated drama and action movie titled Nezha, released in the year 2019. The story begins with the birth of a creature called the Chaos Pearl. Over the course of 1,000 years, the spiritual energies of heaven and earth gave birth to the pearl, and throughout its existence, has been feeding off of the energy of the world and absorbing demonic and divine forces, making it unstoppable. The mixed energies it consumed made it unable to distinguish between good and bad. To stop this chaos from spreading further, the Supreme Lord of Heaven sent two of his immortal monks, named Taya Zhenren and Shen Gongbao, who are also brothers. But even for them, the pearl was already too powerful when it's in its final form, and even they couldn't stop it. So the Supreme Lord had to deal with it himself by trapping it inside the vase and eventually dividing the Chaos Pearl into two separate parts, being the Spirit Pearl and the Demon Pill, which are kept inside the Magical Lotus. However, the Demon Pill is dangerous and nearly indestructible, so the Supreme Lord put a lightning bolt curse on the pill, and in 3 years' time it will be destroyed. However, for the Spirit Pearl, it is the complete opposite, and is said to be reincarnated into the third-born son of a legendary commander named Li Jin, and his son is to be named Nezha. The Supreme Lord gives the Magic Lotus to Taya, as he's been chosen by the Master to look after the pearl, until Li Jin has had another son, and to make sure the Spirit Pearl is born within the baby. If Taya is successful, he will become the 12th Golden Immortal of Heaven. However, when the Supreme Lord made Taya the Pearl Keeper, his brother Shen was full of jealousy and thinks that it must be because of his monster background that made the Supreme Lord distrust him. So he comes up with a plan to sabotage Taya in the Supreme Lord's plan. As requested, Taya comes to Earth to find Li Jin and his wife Lady Yin, who has been pregnant for 3 years. On the day Nezha is about to be born, all the people of Chen Tang Pass come to their fortress to celebrate. After hearing that his wife is in labor, Li Jin calculates that it's now time for Taya to release the Spirit Pearl. However, just as things are going as planned, his brother Shen casts a spell on a servant to control him and makes him steal the Spirit Pearl, and then uses the Demon Pill, which should have been destroyed, to reincarnate as his son. After, the servant gives Shen the Spirit Pearl, which he will use against Nezha to get his revenge on the Supreme Lord. As the process completes, a red shadow makes its way into the house, and all is too late as the demon has now been awakened. Lady Yin has given birth to a meatball with a red symbol. When he wakes up, he immediately falls to the ground, turning into a fireball and scares everyone in the town, unleashing his powers. After, he forms himself into a human and continues to rain havoc on the village, burning parts of the fortress. Taya believes it's all his mistake, and eventually intervenes to put a stop to the demon by putting a magic hoop around him that limits his powers. When Taya tries to finish him, his mother and father quickly protect him and explain that no matter what, he's still their son. At this time, Shen has taken the Spirit Pearl to the underworld, where all the dragons live. The dragons were deceived by the Supreme Lord to kill demons, and they did all the dirty work for them. But once they realized what the Supreme Lord done, they started to plan their treason, and as a result, they have been chained up and banished to this deep sea realm by the Master. To get their revenge, the dragons plot to use the Spirit Pearl to be born into his son, named Aobing, and ultimately sabotage the Supreme Lord's plans he had for Nezha. Despite how Nezha's parents felt, the rest of the town disagree, and felt that they should get rid of him immediately, as later on he will become a danger to the entire world. However, Lord Li Jin promises his people that he will train Nezha well, to make sure he doesn't become a problem for the people of Chen Tang Pass. After Lord Li gives his heartfelt speech to the people, Taya then reminds him of the lightning curse that will come for Nezha in just 3 years' time as promised by the Supreme Lord. In order to save his son, Li Jin goes to heaven to find the Supreme Lord and ask for the spell to be removed from Nezha. But when they arrive, it turns out that the Supreme Lord has traveled to another realm, beyond the 3 worlds, and will not return for a long time. The funny Cloud Gatekeeper asks what the problem is, to which Li replies, saying he wishes for the lightning curse to be removed from his son Nezha. However, the Cloud tells him this specific curse is unbreakable, so all Li wants to do now is to spend as much time with his son as he can, and give him a happy life. However, Taya explains to him that one day in heaven is 1 year on earth. When they return from heaven, Nezha has now grown up, and spends his time looking down on all the people in the village who despise him, and have banished him as they are all afraid of Nezha. Due to this, his mother decides it's best to keep Nezha locked in the fortress. However, while his mother is away from home, Nezha likes to sneak out to the town and scare all the villagers for his entertainment. but some who have had enough of Neja are bold enough to call him a demon. This is the only word Neja hates being called, and he almost loses his mind. Luckily for them, they were saved by Taya. The next day, Taya takes Neja to an alternate world where he can train using his powers and not affect the other people on Earth. Taya teaches him a disguising spell, then goes to sleep while Neja practices alone. But to his surprise, Neja has mastered the spell that took Taya 6 months in only 1 day, and uses the spell to trick him. After seeing this, Taya accepts Neja as his apprentice and will train him the ways of being a demon slayer to protect the people back home. After hearing this, Neja refuses and tells Taya how much he hates the people for how they treat him. In fact, Neja is actually a kind-hearted child. But all his life while growing up, he's been treated harshly and being called evil by the villagers while all he wants to do is play. After seeing a distressed Neja, his mother decides to lie to him and tells Neja that the reason why they treat him like this is because they are jealous that he is actually the reincarnation of the Spirit Pearl and is destined to be their hero. Neja believes her, as he's always felt like he was different and now understands why. So from here out, he trains with Taya to win the hearts of the people so his life will finally make sense. 2 years later, Neja has met Taya's expectations and has required a lot of skills from his training. However, his father tells him he needs to practice meditation to keep his anger in check. But after hearing this, Neja has had enough and escapes the alternate world. On the other side, a water demon who is sick of eating seafood goes to land to find something else to eat. Unfortunately, the demon runs into Neja and immediately knows it's no match for Neja, so the demon runs away while taking a little girl. Neja is so eager to please the people by catching the evil demon that he destroyed many buildings, leaving parts of the town burning while doing so. But even then he still doesn't catch up to it. Seeing that the demon is about to escape into the sea, Neja is very anxious. But suddenly before he flees, the sea surface turns into a floor of ice, and a man in a white cloak appears, slowly floating down from the sky. He is very powerful and only takes him a few seconds to save the girl from the water demon. Just as the man is about to end the demon's life, Neja stops him so the mysterious man doesn't take credit for stopping the demon. Neja wants it so bad that he begins to fight him and takes off the hood revealing his identity and the dragon horns on his head. While fighting, the demon spreads toxic bubbles all around the air as his special attack. The two of them didn't notice this happening, but if they touch the bubbles, their body will turn to stone. However, this doesn't stop the man with horns from dodging the bubbles at lightning speed and punches the demon in the stomach, saving the girl. But without knowing, the demon's saliva also has an effect, turning them both into stone. At this point, Neja has a plan to use the body made of stone to pop all the bubbles and defeat the demon. After being defeated, he surrenders and also gives an antidote to free them from his bubble effect. After being rescued, the man with horns thanks Neja, and so does the little girl, which makes Neja warm inside his heart. As the sun sets, Neja plays Gianzi with the man, and for the first time in his life he's made a friend. Neja begins to cry as he's never felt something like this his whole life. Before the man leaves, he gives Neja a shell and tells him to blow through the shell to make the sound and he will show up wherever he is. However, this happy moment didn't last long as the people from the town hurry over to the beach to confront Neja for burning the village and destroying their houses. Neja explains how he was trying to protect them and save the little girl, but instead they repeatedly call him a demon. This infuriates Neja and decides to teach them all a lesson. Even though Neja is angry, he still restricts himself from killing anyone. Taya and Neja's parents arrive after hearing what had happened and quickly stop an angry Neja. Neja explains to Taya and his parents what he did to save the people, but they call him a liar. But when Lee touches his hand, the saliva of the demon still remains, and Lee now believes him. On the other side, the man with horns returns home to the deep seas and is revealed to be Ao Bing, the son of the dragon and the reincarnation of the Spirit Pearl. He tells his father about his new friend Neja, and this shocks the dragon and Shen starts laughing. Shen tells him how Neja is the demon pill and his sworn rival. His father tells Ao Bing that in order to free all the dragons from this nightmare and change their fate as monsters, Ao Bing must defeat Neja. Over at the other side, Neja is happy as his father promises him a grand party for his 3rd birthday, inviting the entire town to their home. Neja doesn't really care about the other people coming, but he's filled with joy that he gets to invite his only friend, Ao Bing, to his birthday party. Neja heads to the shore and blows the seashell to call upon Bing, but when he arrives, Neja can't tell what's bothering his friend. Of course, the only thing bothering him is what his father said about killing Neja at his birthday party and being the savior for the people, which is the only hope for the dragon's freedom. However, Ao Bing is overwhelmed when given this task. On Neja's birthday, Neja is trying out different outfits and is getting ready to enjoy his party. However, Shen arrives and explains to Neja that all his life, he's been lied to about his birth. And Taya and his parents have been keeping it a secret about who he really is. And Shen begins to explain to him that he is in fact the reincarnation of the demon pill, and not the spirit pearl. After finding out the truth, Neja arrives at the party full of anger and confronts his father for lying. After, the seal hoop attached to his neck is lifted by a spell made by Shen. And without the seal, Neja is unable to control the demon within himself and unleashes his true form, turning into a devil, even trying to kill his father. At this moment, only the seal can stop Neja, but it was taken by Shen, who is watching this all occur from afar with Ao Bing. Even after all that has been said by Shen and his father, Ao Bing still considers Neja as his friend, and hates seeing him in a devil form attacking innocent people. So he takes the seal hoop from Shen and uses it to stop Neja and save his parents. Although Neja is back to his normal self, he still is full of anger and feels deceived by his own parents, and this makes him run away. At this moment, Lee can't help but notice a scent on Ao Bing and removes his cloak, revealing his horns, and the people realize he's from the dragon realm. After seeing this, Taya now realizes that Shen and the dragons are the ones who made Neja the demon, and wish to use Ao Bing to destroy Neja. After being accused of being a false hero and being under the accusations of all the people below, Ao Bing can't take it anymore and retaliates by using his powers against them, by leading the water out of the sea and bringing it above the town. He then freezes it and plans to use the frozen lake to bury them all alive. Li Jin and his wife try to stop him, but they are no match for him and easily overpowers them. Just then a flaming meteor flies down from the sky and it turns out to be Neja. It turns out that the flaming chariot has told Neja a secret about his father and the lengths he went to protect him. The gatekeeper told Lee that the only way to save Neja from the lightning curse is to sacrifice his own life for Neja when the lightning curse attacks him, and it will kill Lee instead of Neja. He accepts this fate and exchanges his life using the spell on the golden notes. Neja is moved by this and now understands how much his parents really loved him, and this makes him return to the battlefield. This time he will fight for his parents and protect the people of the town from the dragon's master plan. But Neja's full power is sealed by the hoop and is no match for Ao Bing. However, Neja tells Ao Bing that he's still going to fight him, even while he's being sealed. Instead of fighting him head-on, Neja plays tricks on him and disguises himself as Shen. After fighting, Ao Bing realizes he doesn't have much time and turns into a dragon and rushes to smash the ice to destroy the village. Seeing this happen, Neja decides to turn back into his final form so he's strong enough to take on Ao Bing. But this time he uses the hoop to contain his demon nature. However, this still doesn't work and the ice above the town is getting lower and lower. Ao Bing persuades Neja to give up, but he refuses as he's been fighting for the unfair fate of his life since he was born, and believes he's the master of his own destiny. Inspired by this, Neja bursts out into flames, using his true power, and 6 arms grow out of his back and the flames evaporate the ice. Ao Bing realizes his time is up and wants to escape. But at this instance a fire-tipped spear comes only a few centimeters before his eyes. But Neja doesn't stab, as Ao Bing is still the only friend he's ever had. At this moment, a huge thunderstorm starts to form in the sky. It is the heaven-made lightning curse that was sent to kill the demon pill in 3 years' time, which means Neja's life is coming to an end. Neja now knows about the yellow note, which is his father's sacrifice to save him, but he rips the paper, breaking this spell, and says his goodbyes. As the lightning strikes him, Neja is risen up into the sky and is about to be killed by the storm. At this moment, Ao Bing flies into the lightning bolt trying to fight it with Neja. At this moment Ao Bing is no longer the son of the dragon gods, nor is he focused on the task, which is to free the dragons. He now takes his place as Neja's friend. Once they combine their energy together, they create a ball of red and blue energy. However, they're still not strong enough against the lightning bolt, and Taya quickly uses the magical lotus to save them both from being swallowed by the darkness. At the end of the film, Taya explains that he could not save their physical form, so instead he kept their souls inside the lotus so they could live. The whole town bowed before Neja as their true savior, and gets the love and respect from the very people who once despised him. And that was part 1 of Neja. If you would like to see part 2, please leave a comment below, and thanks for watching today's movie recap. For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. For now, take care.